video is all about that long-term goal and my long-term plan. So let's get into it. I was retaking this course, and can I just say that she had re-recorded, so Sarah Cannon had re-recorded nearly every video and redone the workbook. It was just so much clearer. I much preferred this round, and I really truly think this year was much better for me and much clearer. Now, part of that was my enthusiasm and my excitement, but I really do think the workbook was so much clearer for me and allowed me to pick out a goal that really works. The first thing we did, which was different this year to last year, is we had to choose a bucket to focus on. So whether that was your career, your health, your relationships, your home, whatever it was. So this year I obviously went to just focus on my career. That was the bucket I chose. I like talking about things in buckets. So I chose the career bucket because obviously that's what I was there for. So I watched the video of her showing us the workbook and how it works, and when we got to this brainstorming bit after we'd done some journaling, I thought, oh, I probably don't need to do that. And she was doing things and I thought, you know what, yeah, I will. And as I did it, I thought of more and more ideas. I picked up on some things that I would like in the future, which was really exciting. So one thing, which isn't on my game board now because I don't think it's viable right now, but one thing I thought about was like, why haven't I put that on my little like wish list and like brainstorming session? I had seen somebody, I think on Instagram, I cannot remember their name, but they have, I think they call it like a reading shed or a she shed or something like that. And in it, it's just this massive shed, and it's like kitted out really nicely. It looks like a little room, and she's got like these big comfy sofas, like bookcases all around her. She's got like a little drink station, and it looks amazing. And I was like, do you know what? I would love like a little writing shed to have like half writing, have some books there, have a little cozy corner nook, and it would just be amazing. Then I could commute to work by walking across my garden. I was like, actually, yeah, I do want that in my mind for the future because I just think it's cool and I really want it. So I put that down. Anyway, let's move on to the goal. I had a long list of goals that I think I would like, and I was dreaming big. Which is why I came up with, do you know what? Being a six-figure author sounds lush, doesn't it? So I put down to make 100,000. Now originally I put down like 100,000 in revenue because I'm yet to really figure out how much I would spend, because at the moment everything is on a real tight budget, but I would like to like scale up a lot of things. I would like to do some ads. I would like to put more money into like artwork, covers, editing, and scale up as well in terms of my actual books. That would probably be like the first kind of steps I'd like to do. And obviously I'm not quite sure how much money that would all be, so I just put like 100,000 revenue, a six-figure revenue author. And then we're going through some of the prompts, and some of the things she said was, does it feel believable, does this, that and the other? And of course, like, I'm dreaming that big, but 100,000 does feel unbelievable from where I am right now. So using the workbook, I was able to come down to a much more, what I think is a much more reasonable goal. And it's really important to note that everybody's path and what they want out of their career is very different. So for some people, ads is not on their list at all, whereas for me it is, because I want some elements of my income to be almost like set it and forget it. So 100,000, I felt like that was going to keep me from reaching my high goal because it was so big. Now my new goal is not a defeat thing. It's not like, okay, let's just step down. It's like an interim goal, something that I can work towards, because one thing I realised is that whilst 12k, so £12,000 in a year revenue, I still think that's going to take me a little while to get to, obviously, from where I am right now, but it feels much more believable. I'm hoping that by the time I get to or near £12,000, I can sort of go back in, repeat the process, and like maybe my revenue can be 50k. Because I'll have a much better understanding of what I need to do to get to 50k. I can scale up. I could think what has worked, what hasn't worked, up to 12k, and then scale up. So I know you're all interested in my game board strategy, but that's one of the last things we actually do in the course. My game board is just an order of operations. I did not put down like when I would do things by, because I think that's where I went wrong last year. So I know some people like to think about what would they like to do this year, next year, the year after, and think about that as their long-term planning. I just wanted to literally focus on what is the order I want to get to. This is something I'm going to keep quite prominent in my office. I'm not quite sure where yet, because over here I've got my yearly stuff going on, which again I'll talk about another time. I've got my HB90 Kanban board behind you, and so I just want to have this somewhere so I can see, A, because it looks pretty and I've colour coordinated it, but also because I just want to be able to know, right, these are my steps. And you will notice, because I will show you, I'm opening the curtain on this, guys, please don't touch my game board strategy. But towards the end, I think things get a little bit more vague, because as I get closer to 12k, I'll have a better idea of what I need to do to scale up to get past that. So without further ado, because I know I've been talking for a while, let me show you my game board plan and I will walk you through. I bought these foam boards last year. I can't remember where. You just go to one of your craft shops. They weren't expensive. And I have got a whole load of new Post-its. Look how colour coordinated and pretty that looks. So, oh, I feel like I'm like a lecturer. I need one of those pointy things. My kids have one of those. Anyway, oopsie. This was not part of the course. This was just something that I did. So I took my goal and took my steps. And then what I did was I split everything into one of these 6 categories. Because I, again, wanted a really quick visual idea of where I was going. Now, every one of these Post-it notes is almost like a project, which means there's like loads of little tasks that come with it. Things like finishing the Romantasy series, book 4. That's one little Post-it note, but that is encompassing the drafting, the editing, and the actual formatting, publishing, and all of that. But for the purpose of this is like you're zooming out big picture. So the big picture is I need to publish that book this year, well, this year really. So the purple ones are all to do with writing, and they are probably some of the biggest Post-it notes. As I said, like even just drafting this book is going to take me about 3 months. What I'm trying to get across is that this may look like, oh, there's not that many on there, but each one will be quite a long time, like encompass quite a few tasks. So we've got writing, we've got marketing with the light blue, we've got YouTube and community, which again I'll talk about. Then we've got publishing, which is slightly different to the marketing and the writing, so I'll go through that in a minute. Business related stuff, and then a miscellaneous one. So my plan goes this way, and then this way, and then this way, and then this way. So we're snaking down. So the first few are like this setting up situation. So I've got I need to set up some like home routines to help with my writing, so I'll need to talk with my husband about that. That's sorting out like the kids and everything else. I want to make a schedule that works with them and setting more routines. Then I'm doing this 4-week momentum marketing thingy-mabobby with Shelby. So I am part of her Content Creatives Club right now, which is a monthly subscription, and I'm doing a 4-week thing with her. I took advantage of one of the Black Friday deals that she was offering, and so I am doing that. I'm really excited. So it's almost like a one-to-one thing, and I'll probably do a video on that later. So that's going to be for the month of January, or for the first 4 weeks in January. Tracking tools. I do have some tracking tools that I use that I got from the Publish and Thrive course that I did years ago now, and I have sort of been using them and adjusting them as I go, but I will be honest, I don't think I've updated anything this year, which is really crazy, and it means I'm going to have a massive job to do next quarter. So within the tracking tools, I will have doing the tax return, updating my data from this past year that I've not done, and then I also want to make some templates and use those templates that I got from Publish and Thrive to my own so that I can then track every month. And I need to get better at tracking every month, even if there isn't much to track in terms of income and expenditure, because I'm what I call a baby author. But obviously I'm trying to think in the mindset of when I am earning 12,000 and beyond, I'm going to need those tracking things in place. Create my writing schedule, which is linked over here. And then Romantic series number 4, which again is going to take quite a few quarters to do. Talking about branding, so we'll talk about branding a little bit with Shelby, but also somebody else that I follow, book marketing with Courtney. I think she's just changed her name to like Spellbound Marketing or something like that. But I use her templates, and she is thinking of doing some branding stuff in the new year, so that will help. I've also commissioned a logo from Get Covers, but I haven't given them any information yet because I said I'm working with some people in January and I want to work on that. So that leads into having like a branded, user-friendly website. I don't think my website's very user-friendly right now, so I need to work on that. So all of those three sort of like link on, and for me I think they're important, which is why they're fairly high up there, because also it's something that once I've done, if that makes sense. I won't have to keep coming back to that. So we move over to here. So this says learn copy. There is a masterclass in the Contents Club in January on writing copy and like sales pitches and stuff, so I'm really excited about that. And I think that will help me with not only my blurb writing, but like my sales page on Amazon and how I market as well. So linked to that, we've got looking at book pulls and hook. Then my A+ content. I debated on this because it's one of those things where I don't think it's necessarily quite high up on the list of things to do, but it is something that could help with marketing. If I get people to my sales page, they may look at my A+ content, and I don't think I've got it for all my books. So I've put it on there because also that is another thing that once I've done it and finalised it and updated it, then I don't really have to do that again. So that'll be then like sort of done, one and done. Then we're moving on to YouTube growth. So I've put that as one little post-it note, but I have a lot of ideas on how to grow. So it took me a while to think about how I wanted my revenue to come in and what my main focus is I want to be in my writing career. So one of that was obviously writing and my books, but I actually love being on YouTube. I love the creative directions I can go in, and it's very different to just writing. So for me, I wanted those to be my two main focuses, and I really love this idea of community in terms of like being with other indie authors. I really love it. It's something that makes me, it feels like my creative well. It just brings me a lot of joy, and that's something I wanted to focus on. So then I did a lot of brainstorming on how I can sort of like upscale that and really get something that I am passionate behind. So I'm so excited to share those as the year goes on. But we're really focusing on community, not writing alone, and just making this like a really welcoming writing space. Hopefully that comes across anyway, but we're going to be really leaning into that for next year, and that's sort of the focus that I want to get in, like that tight-knit community kind of feel. We go on to newsletter growth and reader magnets. I'd love to get straight into my reader magnet ideas, but I did put it a little bit lower down because I've got other things I need to be getting on with, and that's something that's like a really nice bonus to try and draw more people to my newsletter list. But I don't think that's going to be the thing that immediately sells books per se, but I do want to cultivate my newsletter list. So then we move over onto this one here, a little bit of a teaser for you guys, Patreon and Discord. This is just something I wanted to do to create that community feeling. It is something that I really want to work on, almost 50-50 to my writing, dare I say it. Because doing all the brainstorming and the work in this workbook, it really filled me with passion, and I thought I have to follow this passion. Then we move on to special edition Soulbound. So this is something I spoke about in my newsletter a couple months ago. It's something that I've wanted to do, is to make a new special edition of my Soulbound series, hardback special edition. I'm talking new content, I am talking like new artwork, I'm talking like maybe some like sprayed edges, and just really making it a really cool special edition. And this is something that I would then sell at in-person markets. I think I spoke about this in the video when I talked about like market costs and stuff like that, and profits, and how I want to be moving away from like my single paperbacks for that. Obviously I'm now focusing on like my new adult stuff and my fantasy romance stuff rather than paranormal. Having said that, I got a really cool idea for a paranormal story the other day. But that's my young adult stuff, so I would rather just have that as like a really nice special edition hardback for all 3 books, like the omnibus, as something that I can sell at in-person events. So that's what I really want to work towards. Moving on to book maps, and then special edition for the Druid series. So by the time I get down here, I'm hoping this is actually ready to be published, or is published. So I'm going to be working on this, and what I want to do is have 2 volumes. So volume 1 can be books 1 and 2. Volume 2 will have books 3 and 4, and again we're talking special edition hardback, so sprayed edges, artwork in there, extra bits, the whole shebang, maps. Then we move on to book signings and in-person events, which I've just spoken about. I want to try and do a couple more. I definitely want to do more around Christmas time, so I'm going to be researching into that, and I may do 1 or 2 in the summer. I'm not sure, it depends on where those events are, but that's something that I want to try out a bit more and see if that's something that I can scale up. Then we've got my standalone book series number 1, because my next series is a standalone series. I've got about 30k written of the first book, but it's not properly planned. So I need to go back and sort that out, but I'm absolutely loving this main character. If you have read the Throne of Glass series and really loved Manon, or Manon, I never know how to say that, but anyway, if you're a big fan of people like Manon, then you will love the new character in this series. She has given me such vibes, absolutely loving her. Then I've got retailer accounts for paperbacks. So at the moment I've got my Soulbound series on Ingram Spark, and I've got book 1 of the Druid series on there. Now, I was originally going to take everything down from Ingram Spark because it was annoying me, but one thing I had on my like wish list was to have my books in stores, which I didn't think I was that bothered by, and I wouldn't say it's like a high priority, but it is something that I would like to potentially follow. So what I thought I would do, that's why it's like quite low down here, I thought if I work on that, because I know there's also things like Book Vault that I'd like to look into that can get into bookstores. Then we move on to researching ads. I've got ads here because I'm not sure if I'm going to take an ads course. There are a couple of ads courses out there that are really, really good, but also really, really expensive. So I'd have to see how much money I've made to see if I can justify it, or if I'm feeling confident for now, just researching on my own and then doing a few ads for my completed series. That's why it's down here, it's after my completed series, and just seeing how that goes, like on a low budget, just to see how we can do. Then I've got creating a street team. So this is more in mind for getting a street team ready for that standalone series. Then we've got business account over here. So I've got a business PayPal account, but I don't have a business bank account. They do come with some fees, but again, I am thinking about for when I am earning something like 12k and beyond, I think I am going to need those added protections and things that come with a business account. So that's something that's quite low down here. Now I could get here and think still not worth me looking into that. Then we move on to book trailers, because I'd love to have a book trailer, but I don't think it's necessarily really important right this second. So again, that's lower down. I also think it might be quite effective for my Druid series, but like when it's completed. Then audiobooks. I really want to do audiobooks. I absolutely love audiobooks, but they cost so much money. I also love graphic audio, and is it dual or duet narration, where if it's a male character speaking, even in a female point of view chapter, it's the male character's voice. if you know what I mean. Then we've got camera and new lights for my YouTube and the Patreon that I want to do and the Discord that I want to do and the lives that I want to do. So I've put them down here. I may need some inexpensive equipment earlier on to do some of the things I want to do, but when I am starting to earn more money, I then want to put that back into the business and buy and like update my camera and lighting and equipment and improve it step by step. And then I've just got standalone book series number 2, number 3 and number 4. So it gets a little bit more vaguer the further on we get, and as I said before, that's because I'm hoping by this point I am making 12k or I'm near to making 12k, and I have a better idea of what steps I need to do to sort of scale up. So this is my long-term game board strategy, and even still talking about it now, I am filled with excitement. And I know this is very personal, so please be kind with any comments in the comment section, just because this is very personal, but I do want to share it with you. I really want to be open with other authors about what this could look like and where I want to go, because I think it's really helpful. And I think it's also really helpful to see somebody like at the start of their career. I say start because I know I've been doing this for a while, but because I've had young children, I've been working. Anyway, I'm not trying to give excuses, but I still feel like I'm at the start of my journey. Is there anything you think that you would also like to know more about? Because I would be happy to share that, especially in the upcoming videos that I have. We're going to be talking about the yearly goals, so how I took this and created like a yearly plan, and then from that we're going to take our quarterly planning. So make sure that you are subscribed so you know when those videos come out, and I will see you in the next one when we go through the yearly goals. Bye guys.